Hello, welcome back to the channel. And if you were anywhere near social media on August 2nd, you already know something happened at MetLife Stadium that nobody was ready for. This was concert day 2 of BTS's ARIRANG World Tour stop in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The second of 2 sold-out nights in front of over 80,000 screaming fans. And right in the middle of one of the most electric shows of the entire tour, cameras caught Jimin visibly struggling. Not stumbling, not collapsing, but that unmistakable look every ARMY has learned to recognize instantly. The flushed face, the shortness of breath, the brief pause where his body was clearly telling him to stop even as the crowd kept chanting his name. And within minutes, clips of it were everywhere. Within an hour, it was trending. By the time the concert ended, the hashtag was impossible to avoid, and ARMY worldwide were left staring at their phones with their hearts in their throats. Because this wasn't just another idol having a rough night. This was Jimin. The member fans have watched push himself past every limit for over a decade, doing it again, live, in front of everyone. Let's set the scene properly, because the context makes this so much more intense. August in New Jersey is brutal. The heat index at MetLife that weekend was pushing into dangerous territory, humidity thick enough to feel like walking through soup, and BTS was performing a full stadium show with elaborate, high-intensity choreography, the kind of routines that would exhaust a professional athlete on a good day, let alone under stage lights in 90-degree heat while wearing performance outfits that trap warmth against the body. Reports from before the tour had already surfaced that HYB chairman Bang Si-hyuk personally suggested the group ease up on their famously demanding choreography for this leg, worried about exactly this kind of physical toll after everyone had just come back from years of military service. But anyone who knows Jimin knows that suggestion was never going to fully take. This is a performer who has built his entire identity around giving everything, every single time, no matter what it costs him, and on day 2 at MetLife, that philosophy collided head-on with pure physical limits. The moment fans are talking about happened during one of the setlist's most demanding stretches. Jimin was leading choreography at center stage, the kind of high-stakes formation where every eye in the stadium is on him, when the strain became visible. He didn't stop. That's the part that has ARMY both in awe and in tears simultaneously. He pushed through the routine, hit every mark, delivered the performance the crowd came for, and only in the brief pockets between songs did the exhaustion really show. His chest heaving, his hand briefly resting on his knee, that particular kind of tired that comes from giving 110% when your body is only offering 70. And here's where it gets even more emotional, because he wasn't alone up there. RM and Jeon were seen quietly checking in on him between numbers. No dramatic gestures, no stopping the show, just small moments, a hand on the shoulder, a look that said, "Are you okay?" The kind of quiet care that only exists between people who have spent over a decade in each other's lives. Fans who caught these moments on camera said it perfectly captured the bond this group has always had off stage, the kind of loyalty that doesn't need a spotlight to be real. But here's the twist that turned this from a moment of concern into a moment of genuine controversy. And it's the part ARMY cannot stop talking about right now. During one of Jimin's most vulnerable seconds, when he was visibly struggling to catch his breath, the production's cameraman zoomed directly in on his face for the big screen, even though multiple fans reported that Jimin gestured for them to back off. Not once, but reportedly the cameras kept finding him anyway. For a stadium full of people who love this man, watching him try to shield a private moment of physical struggle only to have it broadcast to 80,000 people and then clipped into 1 million pieces online, it felt like a betrayal of basic decency. ARMY didn't hold back their anger. Comments flooded in accusing the production team of exploiting his exhaustion for dramatic content instead of respecting a performer who was clearly asking for a second to just breathe. Some fans pointed out something even more painful, that throughout the tour there have already been complaints that Jimin wasn't being given camera time during his own solo parts, and yet somehow the cameras found him instantly the moment he looked unwell. That contrast didn't sit right with anyone watching, and honestly, it's hard to blame them. And yet, through all of it, what fans keep coming back to is this: Jimin never gave less. That's the story underneath the story. This is a 28-year-old man who has spent his entire adult life training his body to do things most humans physically cannot do. And even now, even sweating through heat exhaustion in front of tens of thousands of people, his instinct wasn't to hold back, it was to give more. He hit the full routine for mic drop, leading the choreography at center stage in one of the loudest reactions of the entire night. He sang live through vocally demanding tracks that would challenge any performer at full strength, let alone one running on fumes. Fans who were there described watching him with a mix of pride and heartbreak, cheering as loud as they could, partly to celebrate the performance and partly because they hoped, somehow, that the noise itself could carry him through. One fan's post captured what so many were feeling in real time, describing how the heat and humidity clearly got to him, how Jun and Jeon kept checking on him, and how despite all of it he kept giving everything on that stage, calling him the biggest professional in the room. That sentiment spread everywhere within hours, because it's exactly what ARMY has believed about Jimin since the very beginning. He does not know how to hold back. This is also a moment that's reopening a much bigger conversation ARMY has been having quietly for a while now, about just how physically punishing it is to be the member carrying so much of BTS's most demanding choreography. Jimin has always been positioned at the center of the group's most intense dance breaks, the kind of near-continuous, high-tempo routines that leave grown professional dancers gasping backstage. Add to that a full stadium tour schedule, back-to-back nights in different cities, brutal August heat, and a body that is still, in some ways, adjusting after years away from this exact kind of performance intensity following military service, and it becomes painfully clear why a moment like this was almost inevitable. Fans aren't just reacting to one video clip, they're reacting to years of watching this exact pattern play out, worrying quietly in the background every single tour, hoping this is the one where nothing goes wrong. What made Day 2 at MetLife even more surreal is that it came less than 2 weeks after Jimin had already performed at the same stadium for the FIFA World Cup final halftime show, wowing the entire world with his now iconic long blonde hair styled in a low ponytail. When he returned to that same New Jersey stage for the ARIRANG tour, that signature long hair was back, now with striking silver-gray tones that gave him what fans have been calling a classic princely aura under the lights. It's almost poetic in a bittersweet way. The same stage, the same city, the same stunning transformation that had fans losing their minds just weeks earlier, except this time layered with real worry about his well-being instead of pure celebration. That contrast, gorgeous visuals paired with visible physical strain, is exactly why this moment hit ARMY so hard. It's impossible to separate how incredible he looked from how much it clearly cost him to deliver that performance. And that's really what this entire story comes down to, isn't it? It's not just about one hard night in New Jersey. It's about who Jimin is at his core, a performer who has never once, in over a decade of watching him, chosen the easy path when the hard one meant giving fans something unforgettable. It's about RM and Jeon, quietly stepping into caretaker mode without ever making it about themselves, proving once again that whatever else changes, that brotherhood underneath BTS has never wavered. It's about a fandom of 80,000 people in that stadium and millions more watching online, feeling protective, feeling proud, and feeling just a little bit heartbroken all at the same time. And it's about a bigger question ARMY is now asking louder than ever: how much is too much to ask of these men, even when they insist on giving it anyway? If this story moved you even half as much as it moved ARMY worldwide this week, make sure you're subscribed, because there is so much more happening on this tour, and you do not want to miss what comes next. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.